it appears the tables are turning. Let's begin. Of course, I don't know if it's just me, but it does seem like on a daily basis, Labour kind of gets a verbal kick in the gonads, and quite rightly too, because of their decision to basically cut back on the winter fuel allowance to, let's face it, pay off a load of unhappy junior doctors to make sure they don't strike again. Or at least that's how it seems anyway. And ever since presumably Keir Starmer was given the go-ahead to that decision, it's gone down about as well as a fart on a lift, hasn't it? And I think that finally, Labour might have realised that. Presumably because someone has switched on the Labour brain cell, or it might be because of a tweet from Angela Rayner a couple of years ago, basically accusing Theresa May of doing exactly the same thing. That doesn't look too good for them, does it, that the shoe is now on the other foot? So what's going on then? Why do the tables appear to be turning? Well, I say that because according to this article, it says that MPs will be given a vote on the government's move to cut winter fuel payments for millions of pensioners. Now, I don't know about you, but I would have thought that they'd had to vote on this anyway, but apparently not, because it does say here that the government had been resisting calls to hold the vote on the cut announced in July, which means that only those on pension credits will get the payment that helps pensioners pay their winter heating bills. And I don't know about you, but I thought it was disgraceful that they even thought of doing that to begin with. But this, if you think about it, could actually be a double-edged sword for Labour, because they are the ones saying now that we need to cut this because of this £22 billion black hole or whatever it is they're saying, without mentioning, of course, that £9 billion of that 22, as far as I've heard, are going towards paying the junior doctors. And of course the £11 billion or whatever it is being taken up by Ed Miliband to give to countries overseas to help with their climate emergency, because I'm guessing they presumably think that is more important than old people heating their house in the winter. And let's face it, when they finally do have this vote, surely then this policy may be scrapped. And if it doesn't, we'll finally see how each and every MP votes on this. And let's face it, it's not going to look too good for them, is it, if they vote to cut this allowance? And yes, I know people will say, well, it's means tested, so people who are rich will still be getting the winter fuel allowance, and I get that. The thing is, though, is they're setting the level at which you'll no longer be entitled to it too low. As far as I'm aware, it's about 11,000, which, let's face it, is hardly much in this day and age at all, is it? Perhaps if they increase that level to about something like 25 or 30,000 in London or wherever, that might be a more realistic level than something like 11,000. However, it says, following pressure from the other parties who oppose the cut, which I'm guessing is Reform with Nigel Farage and a lot of other MPs, Commons leader Lucy Powell has announced it will be debated on the 10th of September, followed by a vote. And in that vote, we will surely see which side Labour are on, won't we? Or their MPs at least. And get this, the cut is expected to reduce the number of pensioners receiving the winter fuel payments up to £300 a year by 10 million, from 11.4 million to 1.5 million, which is just absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Especially when at a time when the energy costs are only going to go up, which is quite strange as it is, because if I remember rightly, I'm sure not so long ago, Labour were going about saying that, oh, we've got a fully costed plan on how to keep our energy bills down. Well, whatever happened to that then? How come that's suddenly gone out of the window? But of course, they more than likely don't want us to remember those things, do they, eh? But, don't worry, because the cut will save the government about £1.4 billion this financial year. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, say Sir Keir, but he's no sir to me, I'm afraid, said the cut was necessary to provide stability to the economy after Labour accused the previous government of leaving a £22 billion black hole in the UK finances. And they really do need to own up, in my opinion, to what they are now doing by, let's face it, increasing that black hole a lot more than it has to be by some of the things they want to do, eh? Ministers are now urging 800,000 pensioners eligible to claim pension credit. Oh, and yes, obviously everyone who is able to claim that should claim it. The problem is that they really do need to advertise a bit more. Do a leaflet drop through people's doors saying that you might actually be entitled to it, because let's face it, the problem is the older we get, the less technologically minded we all seem to get as well. And surely because of that, there will be a lot of people out there who are eligible but might not actually want to go on the internet to find out if they can or can't, or might not know how to do so, and might not have anyone available that can teach them, which is a real shame. And something like a leaflet through their door might actually give them the incentive they need to claim the benefit, eh? But hopefully now there's going to be a vote on this next week. And if MPs decide, actually, it might not be a good idea to take money away from pensioners to give to well-paid train drivers or junior doctors or whatever, and therefore choose to vote against, hopefully then any payments lost will get reinstated with interest, because let's face it, that needs to happen, doesn't it? And hopefully with encouragement from parties like Reform and MPs such as Nigel Farage and all the other Reform MPs and whatever Conservatives are left, hopefully then people will vote against this and then stop Labour from inflicting this damaging thing upon our elderly, which, let's face it, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels that Labour is punishing them because other people are choosing to strike, and that really is disgraceful in my opinion.